Hey, this is Kim Meyer from Horsemanship Help, and today we are doing our first video from a subscriber. They wanted to know about how to have your horse feel comfortable being tied up. So, on the cross ties. So the first thing, horses have to give to pressure. So those first videos that we had of the giving to pressure and head down, and then the back up, and then come forward. Okay, so those two videos of head down and back up, your horse has to give to pressure. Okay, so once they consistently do that, if you were to back him up and ask them to come forward, and instead of just coming forward, there was a whole big resistance, well, that's your pullback horse. Okay, so your horse has to give to pressure. And so that's a number one. So if you can't do those two videos of head down and back up, and I will do other ones of other ways of giving to pressure, don't even tie them up, okay? Now, if you are at home and you have your own barn, you can set it up so that like the backdrop is just you're inside of your barn and they're looking out into the front, the opening, okay? That's probably your best setup if you're at home. Here it's kind of hard because there we have our indoor ring, and back there is the barnyard. So right here the horses have things that they see on both sides. So my horses, I really make sure that they are ready to tie up before they get tied up, because that's kind of a scary thing. And this set up near the tack room, near the indoor, I use this for horses that are a little bit less concerned, and more concerned, and the more solid horses back there where the driveway is, because as you know, horses can't see behind them and stuff. So so that's the setup with that. And so the cross ties, they have to feel comfortable in the aisleway. If you go to a new barn and you're boarding, and the horse, you bring them in and they're like, whoa, okay, don't tie them up. They have to feel comfortable. So if you have, licking the lips, comfortable, okay? So if you have to walk them up and like let them sniff things on the wall, and you say, here, check this out. Whoops, I didn't mean go in there. Sorry, sweet pea. Okay? So if you, what are we doing? But you just let them feel comfortable. Let them go sniff on the walls. Check everything out. If there are tack trunks in the aisleways, let them look at that. So they have to feel comfortable in there. So if you can walk them up and down and they're like, okay, cool. Then you think about cross tying. Cross ties should be at least 5 feet, 6 feet high. That's how ours are. And so when you do cross tie and you start with them, just to make sure, I will put one cross tie on. Oh, and another thing I do is I prepare by letting the cross ties fall, because sometimes people don't think about that, and their horse was so good and they take them off and then it bangs and then they're like, oh my gosh. So with a absolute new horse, I will do that. I will put cross tie on one side, and then I will hold the horse with that like that, and I'll brush. Okay, he's a mess. It's muddy here in New Hampshire this week. So, and then I'll brush and brush and brush and do this side while I hold him. If he were to come up, sweet pea, come up and push on the cross ties, I would put him back to where he should be, because I like to have that droop. I don't want him up here pushing on the cross ties or setting back on the cross ties. So I make sure that they stay right on. We have rubber mats, and that's another thing. For your farm, if you have your own, you want to make sure you have dirt or rubber mats. If it is cement, you want to have rubber mats on that. I grew up, my barn was an old dairy barn, so we had the cement aisleway, and so that gets very slick with water on it. So make sure that you have rubber mats if you have cement. That'll help. So if your horse does even just move funny, it won't slip. Okay? So with the cross ties, you never, ever, ever, ever go under here. That's a blind spot. Okay? So that for scaring them, and if something scared them, so you never go under cross ties. Always go around. Okay? So if I was doing that brushing, then I would switch. I would put this one on, and take this one off and put this over here. Good boy, Arrow. Okay, and then I would hold this set. So after I did this a couple weeks of half cross tie and half holding, then I would go ahead and put the whole thing on and just be there. But that's the main thing with putting them on cross ties. If they give to pressure and they're comfortable in their surroundings, then you're good. But you have to monitor it. Like when we have snow on the roof, if there's snow, nobody's on the cross ties. So when that snow comes off, all my good horses that tie up aren't going to become pullback horses. This summer we had our roof done. And so when the roofers were here and stuff was behind them, the guys weren't on the, well, he was on the cross ties, he didn't care. But you take the horses that were uncomfortable off the cross ties while the construction guys were here, because my guys tie up, and all it took was some weird machine sound to maybe scare them. So during that time, my guys did not get tied up. And people held them in here and brushed, or out in the barnyard and brushed, and somebody had to hold their horse while they got their tack. Big deal, okay? My horses tie. So they should feel comfortable. They need to give to pressure. Set it up so it's good. Have a either dirt or rubber mats on your aisleways. Make sure that they stay here in the middle of your cross ties. And always, like I said, set them up for success. I would never clip them, never worm them on the cross ties. Watch my clipping video, we talk about that. Always take them off if there's something that can potentially scare them. And anybody who's around horses, though, always knows that you should always carry a knife. But let me rephrase that, you should always carry a sharp knife, always, if you're around livestock. So, this has been Kim Meyer with Horsemanship Help, and remember, I want you to stay safe, I want you to succeed, and I want you to enjoy your horse. Hope this helped, Kim, and anybody who's got some ideas they'd like to see, send them along. All right, thank you.